Welcome back to Lightcraft Academy. This I would classify as very experimental. Thank you to Lester, one of our subscribers. He ran across a YouTube video where a gentleman was describing how he builds backdrops, environments using MidJourney, and a little bit different the way that I do it. Normally what I do is I find a backdrop, I put myself in front of it like I have here, and then in post-production I do my best to match lighting. It's a challenge, particularly when you're working with a 2D image. You don't get some of that true, lighting that you would if you had a real light on you, as I do now. And I'll explain how he does that in a second, but essentially I am filming this at night. I am doing my best to separate myself from my green screen really hard in a little cottage. If you're in a studio where you can actually really separate the talent from the well-lit green screen, that's obviously even better. You have more control over lighting. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed a still shot of myself on this background. And by the way, this is not the final background, as you'll see in a few minutes. The final background, hopefully when I come back, will be lit up, because what you do is you take a still frame of yourself lit this way, you feed that into MidJourney, and then you instruct MidJourney to create a backdrop based on your lighting. And because although it doesn't look bad, this is sort of happenstance. This is just sort of a MidJourney creation. I went with sort of a grungy basement. I'll do that when I try this new step. But it doesn't match. It doesn't match. I mean, we can do a lot better. The light source, as I mess around with this, should be somehow reflected in the backdrop, or the backdrop should be lit appropriately. So let me go into a voiceover. I'll show you how I attempt to do this. If I post this, then it worked, or it was a total failure one way or the other. Let's give this a go. As I said a moment ago, the first step is to film the talent in front of the green screen with the lighting setup that you want to use to guide MidJourney to create your virtual environment. I snapped a screenshot and went into Photoshop to crop the image, and I then removed the lamp that I was holding so as not to confuse MidJourney that this was a vital prop. Then removed the background, created a black background, and exported it as a JPEG. After a little bit of trial and error, I think adding that black background, or perhaps another neutral color, is important. Otherwise, it may have an influence on MidJourney's color palette when generating the images. In MidJourney, while holding down the Shift key, you simply drag that still frame into the MidJourney interface. I'm accessing MidJourney via Discord. And you simply right-click to grab the link address that has been created for that image. Inserting that link and then adding some creative prompts to generate the kind of set I'm looking for, you begin to drill down on the one that works best. Notice that MidJourney is rendering a lightness to my reference image. We'll take care of that issue in a few moments. I widen the final image in MidJourney, upscale it to the max, and then use Gigapixel to get the final image up to 4K or 3840 by 2160. In Photoshop one last time, I'll remove the reference image, and then I generally do some optional additional work to widen and heighten the image to give myself some room to work with once it's exported to Jetset. So how did this reverse engineering step to create a matched lit backdrop work? Well, let's take a look. And here we are back, the same lighting situation. I'm holding this light. The cool thing is with the in-phone render, we can create some content with one background and then substitute a different background, and then the motion, and I'm intentionally moving a little bit, the motion can be then baked into the new background in the app with the in-phone render. So I have re-rendered the new MidJourney creation that was inspired by a freeze frame, and I don't know, how does it look? It's an interesting approach, kind of novel, kind of creative. If this works, I might have some fun with this. So we'll call this the experimental Lightcraft Academy episode. And as always, thanks for watching. Please do subscribe. Take care.